He walked onto the field like every other rookie, pads tight, headset silence, the stadium sound turned up a notch, and 40 minutes later, the spotlight had already folded into pressure. Shedeur Sanders' first regular season snaps for the Browns didn't arrive with a trailer or a build. They arrived because reality forced a play. Dillon Gabriel left with a concussion, and suddenly the team that drafted two rookies at quarterback had the other one standing under the lights with half a week's worth of preparation and a national audience ready to deliver an opinion. The stat line is blunt and unforgettable. 4 for 16, 47 yards, an interception, 2 sacks, a fumble, and a game that slipped away 23-16 after the Ravens completed a second half comeback. Those numbers are cold, but they don't tell the whole story. What we saw Sunday was the raw intersection of expectation, development, and NFL brutality. A fifth-round rookie who has barely taken first-team reps shoved into a live environment that affords no forgiveness. Let's be honest for a second. You can nitpick mechanics, the long holds, the loose shoulders, the tendency to flee backward when lanes close, and you'd be right. You can point at the turnovers and the missed red zone opportunities and say Cleveland made the wrong choice, keeping him off first-team reps all season. But there are two frames we should hold at once. One, the play looked like what a rookie pressed into action typically looks like. And two, the Browns roster and coaching choices created the circumstances where a rookie was forced into that position in the first place. Remember why this happened. Cleveland entered the year with a plan. Joe Flacco as a veteran safety net, Dillon Gabriel as the developmental starter. Then Flacco was traded away, leaving Sanders behind Gabriel on the depth chart. That decision made sense on paper. You rarely split practice reps between two rookies and expect elite progress from either, but it created a brittle ladder. When Gabriel went down, the Browns had to sprint up to a rung they'd barely bolted into place. So what did Sanders actually do well? The tape shows flashes. That 25-yard connection to Harold Fannin was a clean, on-time throw. The borderline touchdown to Gage Larvadain that got batted away from the corner of the end zone was a zip that revealed timing and arm talent. He made a first NFL throw that didn't look lost. That matters. He also responded the way you want a young QB to respond. He took responsibility. "I don't think I played good at all," he said afterwards. Then, "I know I'm made for it." That combination, self-criticism and belief, is the raw material coaches pray for. But the rest was education paid for in real time. 2 sacks, one of them a brutal Kyle Hamilton strip, exposed pocket awareness issues and a lack of escape mechanics. The interception to Nate Wiggins was the kind of throw that comes from a combination of pressure and inexperience, scan, panic, release. The intentional grounding penalty was textbook rookie frustration, a muscle flexed in the wrong moment. These mistakes are fixable. This level of physical and mental detail is what reps are for. You don't fix pocket poise in a single midseason crash course. And here's the heart of the argument that will run through Cleveland for days. Was this avoidable? Maybe. If the Browns had kept a veteran like Flacco, Sanders could have been developed slowly. Reps in practice, scout team snaps, preseason live reps, and his debut could have been staged instead of improvised. But teams make roster calls all the time. They balance budgets, draft capital, and future timelines. The real question now is forward-facing. What do you do with the guy you have on the roster who just tasted the NFL and found out the hunger is real? Week 12 is the pivot. If Gabriel fails to clear concussion protocol, Sanders will get a full week of first-team preparation and a true starter's reps in practice. That is the moment that will tell us whether Sunday was a fluke of circumstance or the real read on his readiness. 1 week of first-team work and a controlled game plan designed to protect him. Quick drops, rollouts, max protect personnel packages, and a simplified route tree could yield a different, clearer picture. It won't erase the rookie mistakes, but it will lower the heat and let his strengths breathe. If Gabriel returns, the narrative will likely revert. Sanders goes back to the bench, and the Browns continue with the original plan. And make no mistake, that's a defensible posture. Coaching staffs rarely deviate from their developmental timelines without overwhelming proof. A bad half doesn't prove a player can't be great. It proves he's not ready right now. The Browns Staff can argue they were right to prioritize one rookie's development rather than split focus, and they can point to Sunday as evidence they were correct to be cautious about exposing the other too early. There's a strategic playbook Cleveland should lean into if they want to give Sanders a fair shot. Number 1, limit the complexity of reads. Turn the offense into a live-action training camp with fewer pre-snap adjustments and more predictable progressions. Number 2, protect the quarterback. Use tight ends and chip protection, shorten the field with more run calls and play action, and create quick, high-percentage throws. Number 3, design plays that let Sanders use his mobility in controlled ways. Bootlegs, designed rollouts, and sprint outs that turn pressure into planned options. If the Browns do that, they aren't coddling him. They're giving the roster the best chance to produce, while minimizing live-fire failures that can scar confidence. There's also a broader personnel truth here. The Browns are not a one-player problem. The offensive line needs to hold, the run game has to support play action, and the coaching staff must be willing to adapt the scheme to the player rather than force the player into a scheme he hasn't rehearsed for. Development is as much about environment as it is about talent. Sandboxing a rookie in a handful of plays won't tell you everything, but a week of starter reps will tell you a lot more. Finally, let's talk about pressure, the social kind. Sanders slid into the 5th round partly because teams doubted his readiness and poise. The rookie has faced a crucible of expectations, a famous name, draft slide narratives, and now the weight of a fifth that expects more than patience. The Browns can either let that noise bully development, or they can shield him methodically and let results dictate opportunity. The tougher path is to ignore the social clamor and do the steady, sometimes boring work of coaching. So what do we take away? Sunday didn't show the future. It showed a snapshot. It showed why teams draft veterans as backups sometimes. It showed why splitting reps between two rookies is almost never ideal. It showed talent that flickers and flaws that are fixable. It showed a player who made mistakes but also flashes an arm and timing that demand a second look. If you want a prediction, give Sanders a full week of first-team work and a cleaned-up game plan, and you'll see an improved quarterback. It won't be flawless. It won't be headline-ready, but it will be real. If you want a verdict, wait for that week, because the difference between a rookie who crumbles and a rookie who grows is rarely sealed in one half. It's forged in the repetition that follows. Here's the last image to hold on to. The stadium clock bleeding away in the 4th quarter, Sanders staring down the field, shoulders tense, throws falling just short. He walked off that field raw and humbled, but he walked off confident he belonged. That's the only honest starting point for any quarterback's story. And for the Browns, the only meaningful question now is whether they'll give him enough meaningful time to write the next chapter.